Hello everyone. Today we are going to be making a new dog breed for us. So it's called an Airedale, Airedale. It's a terrier breed. Come on, focus. Focus. No, not gonna focus. You're just gonna be a crazy camera. Anyways, it's a terrier breed. I don't know what's going on with my focus today. Get off of there. Cute little puppy. Nope, still nothing. Anyways, you kind of get the shape. I have never made this breed. I made a lot of terriers, but I haven't made this one. So I took a whole bunch of pictures off the Google machine, and I'm going to use all of those as reference. So I have all these different silhouettes to go by. And by having the silhouettes gives me a rough shape, but by having the actual dogs, it lets me see how they're shaped. So you have the front legs, and then you have your back legs that are swept way back. You got a small curled tail. The face has that really defined, there we go. It's got that defined beard that pokes out the front. Let's go this way. And we can see that again. So that's its distinctive feature. And same thing on these guys. You can see that drop point. Let's see. And you can see it here too. So we need to make sure we capture that, and we capture the legs swept way back and that small tail. So by doing that, that's the main focus of this dog breed. So to be able to capture it and make it discernible, we need to make sure we capture at least those three features. So I have some forks and stuff. So I have my pictures. I have a whole bunch of stuff here I need to find a spot for. I went through and cleaned everything up. Got my little, what is up with my camera today? This is one I did with the brass back. It's a big line and a little line. This camera is killing me today. What's going on? Something's wrong. Yep, something was wrong. I shut off the autofocus. There we go. So we got a big line, little line, wrong way. And then I have my little mermaid lady I did. There we go. So those are fun. So I got all of those cleaned up, tossed them all in the tumbler, and those are all clean now, and I can take new pictures and post them on our Etsy shop or Facebook or Instagram and try and get those sold so I can make more stuff. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. I am going to be in the studio, my shop, a lot more, because as winter gets here, I can't be outside so much. So let me show you where we're going from here. So this is live. It's going to take a little bit. So if you have any questions or want to know something or why I'm doing something, please feel free to comment. Even if you don't see this live, comment, leave me a message. I will be more than happy to get back to you. So I'm going to move you over to here. Zoop. Don't mind the red drink. Okay. So I grabbed a couple of different forks. Oh, I didn't see that before. Oh, and that one was going to be a kangaroo. Okay. So these are, I probably won't use this one at all. Some of these, can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Some of these were chipping. It's like they were chrome plated or something, and it wasn't very good. So I'm not going to use that one. Go over there. So for the dogs, I like to use the ones that have the end of the tines or beginning of the tines are straight across. You can see how this one is lower, higher, and then lower. I use a lot of those for cats. Can you guys even see that? So low, high, low. Kind of gives that lifted look into it. And I have used those for like greyhounds and things. But I really like these other. All right, now I can shut the autofocus off. Okay. So for the dogs, I like to use the ones with the straight bases. Now the difference in these forks is the size up here. So this is the area that we have to work with. This one has kind of squared off corners, and these guys are round. This one has a little less height than this one here, and this one I think is pretty close to the same as this one. And then the other thing you need to take into consideration is the thickness. So some pieces are really thick, and thick comes with a lot of weight. So we don't want to have a lot of weight, but we also need to have enough to make this puppy with room to put our back on. And normally I get the back on the neck. You'll kind of see here later. So this would be the neck on the dog, and that's where I normally get my necklace to hang from. Hi, Pamela. That's great. Hi, Sandy. Thank you so much for watching. The silverware is definitely a different monster than the sterling and the copper. I've just started getting into the copper. I've been doing a little bit more sterling, but the copper is one I'm really looking forward to getting to play with the different, like the heat painting or flame painting. Just, I want to do it all, but this is my first passion, I guess. So this is what I'm doing right now. I have a whole bunch of orders, but this dog is going to be our number 40. I'm pretty sure it's our 40th breed. So let's see. So this is the guy we're making. It's Arendelle, I believe. So this was a request off our Etsy shop. So I took these pictures off Google. I always like to have the real dog images, silhouettes. Thank you. They were a lot of fun to make. And then I like to have the silhouettes because it shows me the beards and it takes everything else away besides what I can capture in the fork. So we can't necessarily add in all of the shading and the different highlights. We can do some of that, but the silhouette gets us there first. And then we can start adding features. Like in the beginning I was talking about the legs are swept way back, real small tail going up, and the beard that's coming off pretty good off the chin there. So those are the three things that we have to capture, but we have to capture that within the confines of the fork. And to do that, when I started out, I started by taking the heads. Let's see if I can just draw one real quick. So we're not going to use this fork because it's really shouldery. I'll use this for more like Chihuahuas or something where a dog has little ears. Is this pen gonna work? Like little ears. Come on, pen. Make a little Chihuahua thingy here. Boop. There's his eyeball. There's his nose. That's the ear. So that's why I like to use the flat forks instead of the forks that have this high center one, because the dogs are normally flatter. I have used them for greyhounds and cut this out. But we're going to draw from scratch. And sorry, this is real time and not just a edited down video, but I was just wanting to hang out, go live, and kind of answer some questions anybody has. So what I'm looking at is I want to make that head first. So the ears on the silhouette are almost always flopped over, and then you go to the real dog. Sorry. Go to the real dog and you blow up that ear, and that ear is folded down. You get a little bit of up right here. So this is the line that I'm creating right now. I'm going to create this, I'm going to go up and then bring it down and then drop it back and down. So we get that effect of the ear, and then we'll go in and groove this out to define the ear. And then as we come around, we'll come around here and make the chin just a rough beard, come back, and then we'll shape the neck wherever we need it to be. These are medium-sized dogs, so we don't need to have a ton of body space in here, so we can go a little bit thinner. The chest is thicker, so we're gonna have a little bit more room here, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how I split the legs back. Let's see, this guy's gonna be a lot better. So what I'm talking about by sweeping back the legs is we're going to take these two tines and we're going to bend them back this way, so it looks like the dog has those legs pushed back. And the reason I'm using this one instead of this one is these tines are wide here. They're going to be a whole lot harder to bend sideways. So these are going to bend sideways really easy. And just to make my life easier, we're going to go here. And let's see about body size. So body size between the two forks is not really a big difference. So we're going to go with this guy. And what I will be doing is when I mess up, I'm just going to turn on my buffer and I'm going to take it off real quick. I'm using these little Sharpie permanent pens, fine point. They draw well enough on here to really stick. So even this one that I just made is really sticking. Some of the other pens that I've used will just wipe right off super easy. So these have always been great. Okay, let's get to a silhouette. Can you guys see that down here? All right, let's fix this video. Let's see if we can get the brightness brought down. Maybe it's contrast? Nope. Sharpness, white balance. That helps a little bit. Backlight. Gain? Not really noticing a whole lot there. Let's try exposure. Wrong way. Nope. Alright, so we'll go with that. Contrast, brightness. Okay, I guess that's where we're gonna be. Get back here to autofocus. So I have my silhouettes here. I'm just gonna try and get a rough shape. So I was talking about those ears. I want this to sit flat. So we want as much of the body here as we can get. Right. So the ear is going to tuck down. That's our little hip going up. We've got kind of a rounded neck, so we're going to leave this. We're going to drop our ear here, and then we'll have our ear come down. It's pointed forward. We're going to come off the top of the head, and it's pretty flat. So we're going to call that the forehead. We're going to drop down just a touch to the nose, and it's going to get rounded off. So we're getting rounded there. Now we need a drop in the chin. I keep trying to look at the comments, so if you guys have questions or anything, let me know. And you guys can see the marks. Okay. So now I'm going to round that down some more. And we're going to bring that tuft. Bring it up. Normally the ears are about where the neck starts. So we're going to take his neck right to here. And he's got kind of a big chest, so we're going to come back this way. Get right down to here. And now we're going to make the tail. So the tail isn't really long. Sorry, the tail's not really long, so we're going to just make a short little tail. By making it thin like this also, we can tap it and it can fold over and we'll get that rounded effect. So we got our eyeball. The ears coming down is facing forward. We've got the dimple for it. So another thing that's important is you can take away all the metal that you want, but you can't put any metal back on. So when I'm cutting this, I'd rather leave a little bit extra so that I can shape it with my bits. That way I can make sure that it's nice and round. So I'm not worried too much about rounding this nose to look exactly like the picture yet. Because after we cut, and then after we get everything trimmed up, it will turn out a lot nicer. So our tail, yeah. So what we're looking at is we have our nice big chest. So here's our comparison. So here's our comparison. We've got our chin, beard. We've got our shaped head. It's a very slight drop. That's what we have here. We have our ear up above the head and then dropping down pointed towards the nose. We have our small tail that's going to come up and fold in. And we have a nice wide chest. So that's what this right here is. And then once we get this guy, actually, well, before we get this guy cut, we're going to take and bend these guys back, and I'll show you how I do that. So these will come way back because this terrier's leg is really... Hi, Robert. Thanks for joining. So this sweep legs, we're going to do that right now before we get further into this. Hello, Gus. Are you going to tell everybody hi? No? What, did you hear me talking? Guess what, Gus? I'm working here. I'm just making a puppy. Just making a puppy. Okay. You know you're making this more difficult, right? Okay. Let's stop autofocusing there. Come on, buddy. I gotta get some work done. I gotta make this puppy. Come on. Come on. Okay, if you lay there, you can stay there. Okay, just lay down though. Nope. Lay down. I won't touch you. Just lay down. Okay, so we have the two legs, the two back legs for our dog. Sandy says hi. All right, so we have the 2 legs of our dog that we need bent. I'm gonna put those to the outside, and I'm gonna take these right down. See if I can get this to go up a little bit more. Okay, Gus, you really gotta get out. Come on, buddy. Hello, Gus. Welcome back. Oh, we're making puppies, not kitties. Let's see. I forgot about the legs sweeping back so much. So let's see if I can find my tine bending tool. You can use a pair of pliers or a piece of copper tubing. I have a little tool that I got from Suzanne at Flatwareables. I have seen some DIYs on those. I tried one, but it didn't quite work, so it was just easier to buy it. Here, tool, tool, tool. And my shop's a total mess right now. All right. One last spot. Nope, it's not under there. Oh, one more spot. Whoop. Oh, we'll need this later. Nope, not in there either. All right, so we're gonna do this pair of pliers. You can use your flat nose pliers here, and I'm just gonna grab the tine and bring it over, get that crank down. So I'm putting the end of my pliers down here, and I'm going to use my tip up here just so that I get leverage. So that's allowing me to get that bend without adding too many marks. Yeah, he does, Sandy. Every time. My wife is live on Facebook right now, and he was just in there. He's just a big ham. I really want that tool because it allows me to get down right to the bottom. See, and these are leaving little tool marks. It's gonna be funny because I'm gonna get this bent and then I'm gonna see them. Okay, so we definitely have our swept back legs. So there we go for that. We have that feature. Whenever this gets cut off, you'll be able to see how the legs look. Okay, let's go to the next thing. get my homemade block here. Raise you guys up a little bit. So our Etsy shop name is Flatware Creations with 2 S's. And my wife sells, she just started selling paparazzi jewelry, $5 jewelry. So she does that. She's on there almost every night. Her health conditions and things, she does what she can. Thank you, Sandy. It's been a lot of practice. So right now I'm using a number 2 blade. I think it is a number 2 and not a number 2/0. I put them in these little test tube vials, and I always leave the one that's in the blade out so that I know which one it is. So I need my wax. I'm going to use my wax. This is beeswax. That's what I'm going to use to lube the blade. And just make sure I'm not going to hit the camera here. Okay. I got to move this box. Okay. Glasses. What I'm doing now is I'm pinning my blade on the back so it's pushed up against the wood. I want to bring where I want my cut to start. That allows me to get started right where I want it without it skating off. So I'm just barely holding this. I could probably do this with 3 fingers. I'm actually going to switch over to my glasses. Just so I can have a little bit more light. Can you guys still see that? Okay. Yep, this blade is going to be too big. It's already not letting me curve because of the thickness. So my normal go-to is, I think, a 3/0. It's this guy here. Not too big, not too small. I had to just consolidate all of my blades because I couldn't always find out where they were or exactly which blade was what. Okay, that's going right. Give it some wax, and we're off again. That's better. Paint brush. I use these little paint brushes to kind of brush off the wax and the metal shavings. And like I said, it's not super important to be right on the line, because we are going to go behind this with our diamond bits and clean it up. And then we're going to solder on our back. So I get to make my little dip down. Whenever you can't see the line, wipe it off. A little bit more wax. And you can kind of hear whenever it stops really digging in, you'll start to hear it or feel it just start skating across. Just real slow, round it around. So most of the silverware I get is thrift stores, antique stores, a ton of antique stores. There's a few places that normally have pretty good selection, or they'll have nothing for weeks and then they'll get in 5 or 6 donations or so of this silver plated silverware. And a lot of times I'll get a phone call, "Hey Jeremy, we just got some silverware in, do you want to come get it?" And I'm always like, "Absolutely, thank you so much." And I have just about everywhere within 30 minutes of my house on a schedule that I go and visit regularly. Salvation Army, Goodwill sometimes will have some. I have gotten a case or two, or a set or two from Goodwill. At Goodwill, they're normally up towards the front of the store. They'll be in a box in the glass display case. For me, it would normally take about half an hour if I was just headphones on, cruising through. I'm about half an hour. My first cat took me an hour. My first dog took me about 45 minutes. The nice part about the dogs, though, is after you've done a breed, you have a template with the piece that's cut out. So you'll see that whenever we get through cutting this guy, the piece that comes out becomes your new template. So I'll just write up here, Schnauzer, or I'll start, I'll probably put the first 2 letters. The first 2 letters of the type of Schnauzer. And then Schnauzer. And the next time I can find a fork similar size, I'll match them up. And I'll just be able to trace it right on, which saves me a few minutes of going back and forth. This is like the first time in a really long time that I haven't actually had to redraw it 4 or 5 times. So that works out for me. That's always fun to do. I have sat here for multiple occasions drawing one breed of dog for over an hour, trying to get those those details within the confines of the fork make it really hard sometimes to get it. So this will make number 40 for discernible breeds of dog. So that's fun. My first fork dog ever was a Schnauzer. But it was, I don't know, standard Schnauzer. It has the full beard. So I was doing the cats, and then a friend of mine said, "Hey, can you make my dog Barnaby?" And I got off the phone, and I'm like, she wants me to make a dog out of a fork. And my wife's like, "You can't make a dog out of a fork? How are you going to do that?" So I took a fork, and I traced it on a piece of paper 8 or 9 times, maybe a little bit more. And then I figured out how I needed to turn the head to be able to get that, because we have to work within the confines of the fork. This part, be very careful that your finger is nowhere near the exit. I have done this before and just sawed right into my finger. So I'll normally go to the back of my board here and just slowly take it off. So there is our Schnauzer. And this is this template. So watch, this other fork was about the same size. So I'm just going to match this up. See how the spoon shape is matching up on both sides? Now I can just get my marker working. Hello, hello. And there we go. There's our Schnauzer. And we just need to pop in the ear a little bit. We'll get this and then fix it off. And there's our next Schnauzer in that same breed. Oh, sorry. There you go. So now what I'm going to do is I keep the legs on until almost the very last, because it gives me something to work on. I don't need my saw anymore. So now I'm grabbing my little Dremel tool. Mine is a nail drill for doing gel nails. I used to do my wife's nails. So I'm just going to grab a small diamond bit here. Links to just about everything I use is down in the description area. They are affiliate links, so if you buy something I get like a half a cent. But I have just about everything that I have, or the comparable thing that I found on Amazon, that if I was going to buy it, I would buy that. So that's in the description. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go through and we're going to smooth up all of these saw marks. So I'm at a 5. I'll probably go down to a 4. And I don't know if you can see that. Get my autofocus turned back on here. There we go. So there's a whole bunch of little grooves there. And what we're doing right now we're trying to get those marks nice and smooth. So that's just this part of the finish work. We do have a website, but it just takes you to our Etsy store right now. It's flatwarecreations.com. I have been working on our website to get it back up so you guys get more information. We do a lot of heirloom jewelry, we do wholesaling and stuff, and I'm trying to get that site back up and running. But right now it just takes you to our Etsy shop, Flatware Creations. And anything you've ever seen us post, so we have tons of pictures on Facebook, we have tons and tons of pictures on Instagram. Anything that you see on there, we can try and recreate, or if you have an idea, at the shows, I would always hear my wife Jamie say, "Oh yeah, I'm sure we could do that." And then I have to figure out how to engineer silverware into whatever it is they wanted to make. So I've done lots of that too. That's one of the favorite things for me, is being able to like create something, like try and figure it out. So anything you see or have an idea, just message me, Facebook, Messenger, here on YouTube, Instagram. Yeah, I think at one time I counted, there's like 8 different ways to communicate with me. So I'm gonna keep going on this guy so we can get this guy finished. Alright, so I'm going to switch over to a smaller bit, just so I can get under that chin, or not under the chin, but under the neck. So this is a little pointed guy. And I'm trying to get underneath the chin here, underneath the beard. So right now I'm trying to make a definition between the snout and the beard here. So we're starting to get some definition, cleaning them up nice. Now I'm going to take off the edges, the sharp edges. So this, you want to be very careful because this will slide off and scratch up the face. So I'm just trying to take off the corners. So just take your time with this. You never want any sharp spots. And a lot of times I'll check with my fingers just to make sure there's nothing sharp. I definitely will. I was going to work on it the other day, but my wife, we ended up taking her to the hospital, and we brought her home today. She's doing a lot better. Like I said, she's doing alive right now. Did I do that part? Oh no, I didn't get the top. I did get the top. She's feeling a lot better now. It's also good practice to like go around in order so that you know you've gotten everything and you didn't miss any spots. How did the ring turn out? Zoe's ring? I don't remember. I make so many rings. Her group is called, I just had the notifications, Ma Poppins Basket of Bling. There you go. Ma Poppins Basket of Bling. Alright, so back to this. So which ring, Robert? I shake so much, so I make sure that I use a lot of points to anchor. There's no way that I could do this because I shake so much. I'd be scratching all over the whole thing. And sometimes it still gets away from me, but if you do it on the front, sometimes you can make it into a feature. Okay, so now I'm checking any sharp spots. Got a sharp spot there. Okay. Now here's where we see just how well we did. Oh yeah, that ring turned out, I can't even describe the pride and dumbfoundedness. I still can't believe that I actually made that. So for those of you who haven't been watching for a little while, Let me get this to autofocus. So we started off with a picture, and then from here I took her ring, so this is her wedding ring or engagement ring, and then my job was to make this, the guard for it. So we got two 6mm moissanite diamonds, and I learned how to bezel set stones and how to make all the little tiny pieces. So it was 6mm, and then the ovals next to them were 4mm, and then the round ones next to them were 2mm. So let's see. Here's how it ended up. There we go. So it was all done in rose gold, and at the end I had to remake some stuff in sterling. Thank you, Kay. And then I think I have a picture with her ring on. There it is. So that's how it turned out with her ring. I ended up, because I had to use some sterling silver pieces, I ended up having to learn how to gold plate. And my favorite thing, so let me pause this. All right, let me shut this off. Get my microphone out here. Put you guys right here. And this is about as proud as I could get.
That is 3. Oh my god, you cleaned it up. Look at that, and it fits so good. I'm a freaking princess, y'all.
That's my favorite part.
Oh my god, Jeremy, you outdid yourself, dude.
So I finished it 10 days before her wedding.
It looks so good. Oh my god, I think I love this more than anything I could have ever pictured. It looks so good.
Like that is sick.
For your first time too.
Yeah, it was lots of fun. Sketchy because it was at the 10th hour. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making it, and I made I learned so much in such a short amount of time, and for it to even turn out even close to what we pictured it, or what I pictured it as, was just amazing. It's just like something that I never thought I would have been able to do. But through all the defeats, I think I made the 6mm marquee bezels at least 30 times, and there's only 2 of them. So it's just learning, and whenever everything is failing, just smile, laugh, start again. And that's it. All right, so back to our puppy here. Let's see. I'm gonna bring you guys up here. So I'm just gonna run this on my buffer here, and we're gonna take off all of the marker now. Yes, definitely persistence. All right, so here's our puppy. Just the silhouette, nothing extra for definition. And if I had to go off of our silhouette, I think we've captured what we're going for. Beard looks right. I'm working here, people. We just need to curl over that tail, and we're going to go ahead and put in the ear right now. We're going to put in the eye, and we're going to put in the nose, and we'll bend that tail over. So that's what we're doing right now. So I'll go back and I'll redraw the parts of it that I want. So we know the nose is going there. Where the dimple is here, the eye is normally right behind it and just down just a little bit. So eye is going to be right about there. Our nose is going to be about there. And our ear, let me look at this, is coming down from this point. Remember, it pointed towards the chin, and it's close to his eye. So let's run this forward a little bit, and then we're going to run this bit right towards the front, and we'll just meet him right here. Let's see if I switch that around. Nope. I think we're good. I always go back checking my references, and we're just gonna etch this out. I might have to cut a little off the tail, but we'll see how we're doing from that. So let's get you guys back up here. Oh, I didn't need to do that. I needed to go here. Take my brown board. This is just a punch. And the nearest metal hammer for the nose. See if I can get you in here. Get back there. Let me zoom you in here. Okay. So whenever you put this on here, it's going to make a dimple, and it's going to widen everything. It's going to widen everything out. So let me get this turned. So you don't want to be right on the very edge. So I'm going to go back just a little bit. There we go. To get the eye put in. Same thing. Then we'll put the nose in, and I'm going to angle it just a little bit. Not enough to pop it out, but just enough to make it kind of make a little pointy. Oh no, my camera froze. properties, deactivate, activate. Configure, okay. All right. I'm learning. It's getting faster. Okay, so now we have a puppy. We've got his eye there and his nose actually pushed the metal out a little bit. So I'm going to take this over to my drill press, and I'm just using a 1/16 inch bit, and I'm just going to open that eye up a little bit. I'm not going through it. I just wanted to make that eye hole a little bigger. Now I'm going to go back to my, let's get you up here. I'm going to go back to my pointed bit here, and we're going to cut in our ear. So again, a lot of brace stabilization points. We got this next one. Okay, so we've got that done. So there's the ear. And we'll get this guy put back in the block. And we're going to tap the tail over. And for this, I will use my nylon mallet. And for this, I will use a small hammer. Where'd my brass hammer go? There we go. I like the little brass because it's not going to leave, shouldn't leave too big of a mark. There we go. Now we've got our curve, we've got our leg swept, and now we're going to cut in our beard. It's basically the same thing we did for the eyes, except I'm going to use a better bit. You can also do this with a scribe. See, I just threw one over here. So this little guy here, it's basically just a real sharp needle in the block of wood. And you can just make the scribe lines. Here pretty soon I'll have, I'm making my own engraver. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a big project that I will not do live because it's going to take days. Okay, so now I've got my smaller bit on. This is probably the smallest bit that I have. So be careful whenever you're coming down here. You don't want to scratch the body. So that's my goal, is to not scratch the body right now. And we're just trying to get deep enough marks to store ink. Okay. So there's that. Okay. Now for the fun part. Where's my handy dandy permanent marker? So I finally got my wife's studio, her room done. I have this nice roll top desk that is completely a mess. Once she gets all of her stuff moved out, I get to turn that into my studio, my workbench. Okay, I wish it would just brighten up. Let's see, can I go back? Okay, so I'm going to take this marker. I got this at Lowe's. Any big permanent marker that will bleed, you want it to bleed into those holes. And you can either take this off two ways. You can take it off with your buffer, or you can take it off with some alcohol. But I think my daughter took the alcohol the other day. So we're gonna go the buffer real quick. And poof! We got a puppy dog with a beard. Now I'm going to take my block and another Sharpie. And he's a medium-sized dog, so I'm going to give him medium-sized legs. And I use this block as a just a square, so I can see, so I can get everything squared up and even. Come on, pen. I need 2 more marks. Okay, so that gives me my legs. Ugh. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. So I'll grab my little bolt cutters here. These are 14-inch bolt cutters. I just got them from Harbor Freight. So as always, the part that you want to keep on your side of the jaws. So I'm going to cut off the front 2 legs first. And let's get them off there. I just use some flat nose pliers. And I get as close as I can to the line. And then they just pop off. So I'll bag those up, and those will become a pair of earrings. And for this one, we're going to switch back the other way. And we actually did get a nice straight line. So there's that. There's that one. Now we have our accurate schnauzer. So we're just going to clean up the legs. I'm going to do that on my, I used to use a file, stick it in here and then file everything straight. Now I just use my 1-inch saw here, or belt sander. So pretty much I've gotten just this all nice and flattened up. I'm going to go to our tool here again. This time I'm putting on a drum. Put my block back in here. My block just gives me a nice work surface that's higher up. And we're just using a little drum. I think this is 120 grit. And I'm going to take this and round off the edges of the feet, and then I'm going to go along the side and make those rounded also. Flip it over. Now we'll get our size. And just to make sure we don't have any marks underneath. All right, nothing sharp. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the back on him. So for that, I will loosen this up just a touch. I'm going to grab my fire brick here. Put my puppy down. What I'm using for my necklace loops are these glue-on little back plates here. Come on. So it has a little eyelet on there. I'm going to cut the heart off. I'm going to take my plier or my Dremel tool and I'm going to round this off just where I cut it. And we'll get this guy right on there. So you want it up closer to the head, to the top of the head, and as close to the center as you can get it. So I'm going to take my, where'd it go? Take my solder. I just had everything out. here. Solder, solder, solder. I was just making a bunch of bud vase. There it is. Okay, so I'm using the rosin core solder. So Harris, I get this at Lowe's. Like I said, there's links to similar in the description, but it is lead free and it's rosin core solder. That means you don't have to use any extra flux or anything. So I'm going to take this, just flatten a little piece out, cut it off. I'm going to grab a pair of tweezers. Put this guy on there. Okay, making sure you guys can still see. Make sure I got that going the right way. This is the tricky part for me because, like I said, I shake a lot. Actually, you know what? I can probably get away with sweat soldering this if I can get my fingers to work. Okay. All right, so that's going to make that easier for me. So you don't want to have this showing. So we're going to move it to where it's not in the neck area and it's not above the head. So I'm going to put it right there. Okay, so here's what I mean by sweat soldering. We're going to just take this, we're going to get this heated up and just barely touch the solder to it and it should melt. Puppy all warmed up. The only thing about this is you don't want to get it too hot because this metal isn't the greatest metal, so it will just melt. There we go. Just make sure that that's cleaned off. I have a little bucket of water down here. All right, so the solder went all the way around. I do have one little tiny piece of solder in here, but that should just pop out. Here's my snips. There we go. So our hole's cleared out here. with this, I wish I would have gotten just a touch bigger of these clasps, because my necklaces, the jump ring doesn't quite go through, so I have to take the jump ring off and then put the necklace through. So what I do is I just kind of open them up. We just get it all cleaned up here. And so next I'm going to take this little burr buffing wheels, not buffing wheels, it's sanding discs. This is a 320 grit. It's about the middle of the range. And I'm just going to clean up the back of this guy. We're going to crank this up to about a 6 or to an 8. So we're just cleaning up any scratches or anything that we may have done to it to make it not nice and even and smooth. And before I send this to the customer, I'll make sure I tumble it first. Before I had a tumbler, I used my buffing wheels to just get it the best that I could. And because we heated this up, it also took off a lot of the polish on the front. So, but there's not a lot of the solder stuff to get off. So I'm going up to a 600, I think it is, grit, so we don't leave any big marks. All right. Oh, I forgot a step. I didn't put my logo on it. So let's come back here. Grab my logo. Drop my quick change handpiece. All right. So sometimes the logo indentation will come through. So I always try and put it somewhere where it's not going to be really noticeable or in a thicker spot. So I'm going to put this guy right here. And there we go. Tiny little Flatware Creations logo. Focus. Anyways, it's on there, and I'm going to put on today's date with a tiny round ball bit. So, well, not today's date, I put the month and year. So we are 10/21. And our puppy is done. The one last thing you can do, just to double check and make sure everything is okay, is take a piece of necklace chain, run it through, and make sure that it's hanging right. So if I bring you down here, my camera's not wanting to cooperate today. Lower. There we go. We got our little schnauzer. Beard and all. I don't know why it's not wanting to focus. So I'll buff him up really quickly, make him super shiny like he came out of the tumbler. I do that with just my wheels here. Now we've got a nice shiny little puppy. So this guy is all ready, and if we match this to our picture, let's see if I can put it right on him. There we go. I think we did pretty good. Shaking like a crazy person. All right, so that's how I make a dog. The same thing for just about everything else that I make. Cats are normally pretty easy. The dogs, however, you have to find what makes them definable as their breed. Thank you guys. It's the thing that makes them definable. Whenever somebody looks at a dog, they want to see a pug. that's obviously a pug. So if you made this and said this is a pug, it's not going to work because it doesn't look like a pug. So discernible is the biggest thing. So it's those little details. With the schnauzers, it's nice because they have the little beard, or but the swept back legs, the length of the tail, I mean, all those things make a big difference in the end. So I think I'm going to stop this live, but I have diet fork and spoons that I have to get stamped and cut. So if you guys want me to start another live, I will. And if not, I don't even know what time it is. It's 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. I'll probably be up till, well, last night I was up till 3 a.m. making bud vases. Speaking of which, I should have another batch ready to come out of the tumbler. I tumbled, where'd they go? Where'd they go? I think it was 65 or something. Oh, I already bent them. I think there's around 65 full spoons that I tumbled earlier today at once in my tumbler. The thing's just a monster, and they all came out great. All right. I thank you guys so much for joining me. Goodbye, Robert. See you guys next time. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. Tell your friends about us. And keep checking back. I will be posting a lot more as we go into winter. I'll be in here a lot, and I'll be doing some of the shop kind of walkthroughs as I get stuff actually organized now. I think that's about it. I really appreciate you guys. I will have a short video coming out. We hit 2,500 subscribers, so we will be doing a giveaway, and right now the poll looks like I'll be making a dragonfly. So it's something that I've never made before. So thank you so much, Robert and Sandy. So that will be coming up too, and I'll make that one, will probably be pre-recorded because of all the processes I have to learn throughout it. It takes forever for that stuff, and you guys don't want to just sit around here for 8 or 9 hours while I figure out how to make a dragonfly. All right, so have a good night. Thank you so much for joining me, and if you have any questions, even if you're watching this later, please message me and I will try and get back to you as soon as I can. All right, have a good night, everyone.